how's it going? Today I have a fall inspired makeup look for you. It has a lot of cranberries and golds and it's a halo eye, and I got some fun falsies on. Just some wispies from Ardell that I got. If you want to see how I got this, then keep on watching.
Alright, first thing we're going to do is prime our eyes. I'm using the Urban Decay Potion Primer for this. I just dot a little bit on each eye and spread it out from lashes to the bottom of the brow. And a little bit underneath the bottom lash line also. And I'm going to add a second primer or another base, which is going to be the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, as you see right here. And I just stick kind of a fluffy angled brush in it and dab that right on top of the potion primer. After doing the top lid, I also add some of this underneath the bottom lash line as well. And on top of that, I'm going to set it all with Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This is just a clean, fluffy brush to apply that everywhere. Now I'm going with this denser blending brush from Sephora and this Morphe 35N palette, and I'm going to use this color right here as our first transition shade. This is my first time using the Morphe palette, so I wasn't quite sure in the pigmentation, so I start off very light-handed, but once I see how it is, I go in a bit heavier. Because I have hooded eyes, I put this slightly above my crease, just so whenever my eyes are open, all of my hard work doesn't get lost in the fold. Once I get my initial base going, I keep going back and forth in between that transition shade and kind of darkening up and intensifying it. Now I'm going in with this shade, and I'm going to use this as a more intense transition shade. I really like this color. But yeah, and I just do the same thing that I did with the first one, going in lightly and then going back and building up to the intensity that I want it to be. And I'm taking this from outer corner to inner corner because we're doing a halo eye today, and you want transition all the way around. Halo eyes are supposed to be very round shaped, in my opinion, so that's what we're doing. We're making our eyes very round. Now I'm going in with this color. This is Bitten by Makeup Geek, and this little brush. It's a kind of a dome brush that I got from Sephora. It's a little bit more dense than the bigger blending brush, but we're just using this to map out the shape of our shadow. I'm putting it in the outer V and in the inner tear duct, both eyes. And I'm just doing this very lightly at first to figure out where I want everything. And once I got that figured out, I go back in with more color to intensify it. Once we have our shape laid out, we're going to go in with a big fluffy brush. This is a Sigma E25. It's about the same brush as the MAC 217, but we're just going to use this to diffuse the color and start making this a halo. Because with the halo, the color from your inner corner and the color from your outer corner connect kind of in the middle, and we're just using this to blend those colors so it looks like a nice shape and you don't just have blotches of eyeshadow on your inner corner and outer corner. This process can be time consuming, but just keep with it and be patient. Patience is key when it comes to blending your eyeshadow. After we have our initial layout blended and color where we want it, we're going to go back in with that same smaller brush and the same first shadow, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to intensify our corners and blend it out with the brush. You're going to do this a few times until you get it to be as intense as you want it to be. Now I'm using the Sigma E40 brush just to diffuse the edges so we don't have any harsh lines. And now we repeat step 1 again. We add that bitten color into our corners, and we're going to use our blending brush to blend it out. You just keep doing this until you get it as colorful as you want it to be. Now I'm going in with this color from the Morphe palette and the same brush we used to apply bitten, and I'm doing the same thing, except this time I'm not bringing it up as high and I'm not blending it across as much. We're keeping this one closer to the lash line. After that, I'm just going with that big old brush and diffusing the edges. Now I'm taking this brush, which is a MAC 214, and I'm putting it in this dark black color and putting this right where we did the brown, except right along the lash line. And of course, blending it out. Diffusing the edges. Time for more color. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Shadow Couture World Traveler palette, and in the shade Metallic on a Sephora Pro Smudger brush, I'm using that as the highlight color. Once I have that patted on, I just use the fluffier brush to kind of blend out the edges so it's not as harsh. Using the Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray, I'm wetting my brush and dipping it in this Shiro Cosmetics Full of Craft eyeshadow. And I'm just putting that right on top of where we put metallic to intensify it some. Plus the shadow has a pink shift, and I figured that would pair well with our Bitten eyeshadow. Moving on to the bottom lash line, we're going to do the same thing. We're doing Bitten almost all the way across, that reddish brown, closer to the outer corners, and then a tiny bit of black right along the lash line. And then we're using that tapered blending brush again to blend it all out. And again, just keep going back with the other brush to make it as intense as you want it. Oh yeah, and this blending brush is a Sigma E45. It's this small tapered blending brush. We have that all blended out. I'm just going to go back with metallic and put that right in the center of the bottom lash line. For liner, this is the Mica Gel Liner in black. I'm going with this tiny brush, and I'm putting this just really close to the lash line because I don't want to cover up our highlight too much, and giving myself just a teeny tiny little wing. And along with that, I'm dragging a tiny bit into the outer third of my bottom lashes just to add a little more depth down there. Now I'm going to curl my lashes, add some mascara. I use the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and apply falsies. These are the Ardell Wispies, and I love these lashes. They are just so pretty. I set them both on my lashes at the same time, so one can get tacky, and then I go back with the other and apply that one. Now I'm using this little clamp that came with the lashes just to kind of mush my lashes and my falsies together. This is Chocolate Soleil from Too Faced, and I'm just going to use that to do some bronzing. This is just an angled blush brush, but I find it works really well with my bronzing and contour. Yeah, I just pat it on in upward motion and then start blending it out. Again, as intense as I want it. Apply it to the temples, and then blend all the way across the forehead and a little bit around the jawline. And then back through the cheeks to make sure everything's nice and blended. For blush, I'm using this e.l.f. blush palette, and I'm going with this kind of mauve-y raspberry shade right here, and this Real Techniques powder brush, and I'm just applying that above my bronzer and below where my highlight would be. Now I'm going with this Revlon Color Stay lip liner in nude, and I'm lining my entire lip and filling it in. After we're done with that, I'm going in with this NARS Belle de Jour lipstick. It's kind of a sheer color, but this is one of my favorite nudes. But I put it on top of this liner because if I wear it by itself, it makes my lips blend in with my skin. And then one more squeeze with the eyelash curler, just to make sure my falsies and my natural lashes blend together. Then to make sure my makeup doesn't go anywhere, I do a nice face mist with the Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray. Alright guys, and there you have it. Here's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye!